Today, we're diving into a story that starts like a modern fairy tale but spirals into a dark, twisted mystery. It's a tale of love, wealth, and a secret that proved to be deadly. Leo, a 21-year-old art student, barely making ends meet by working shifts at a high-end downtown cafe. He was charismatic, with a sketchbook full of dreams and a bank account full of dust. His life was a predictable cycle of brewing coffee and sketching portraits of strangers, until one rainy Tuesday afternoon when Isabella walked in. Isabella was 42, elegant, and radiated an aura of power and wealth that was impossible to ignore. She was a prominent art collector, the kind of person Leo only read about in magazines. She ordered a simple black coffee, but her eyes were fixed on the charcoal sketch Leo was working on during his break. It was a portrait of an old man he'd seen on the bus, his face a roadmap of a life lived. Isabella saw something in it, a raw talent she hadn't encountered in a long time. She offered to buy the sketch on the spot. Leo, stunned, initially refused, but she insisted. That first transaction was the beginning of everything. They started meeting for coffee, which soon turned into long dinners, gallery visits, and eventually clandestine meetings at her lavish penthouse apartment overlooking the city. For Leo, it was a dream. Isabella showered him with gifts, designer clothes, a new car, and an art studio of his own. She introduced him to influential people in the art world, and suddenly, Leo wasn't just a barista anymore. He was an emerging artist, a prodigy. He was in love, or at least he thought he was. He was swept up in a world he never imagined he could be a part of. Isabella, on the other hand, was married. Her husband Richard was a cold, calculating businessman, often away on trips. She told Leo their marriage was a hollow arrangement, a business merger more than a union of hearts. She felt unseen, unappreciated. Leo made her feel alive, young, and cherished. He was her beautiful, vibrant secret. Their idyllic bubble, however, was about to burst. One evening, after a passionate argument with Richard over the phone, Isabella seemed unusually distressed. She told Leo she was going to finally end things with her husband, that she wanted to build a real future with him. The next morning, Isabella was found lifeless in her home. The initial report was straightforward: an accidental fall down the grand staircase of her mansion. It was a tragic accident. Richard was out of the country, his alibi seemingly airtight. The case was nearly closed, but one detective, a seasoned veteran named Miller, couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The scene was too neat, too perfect. Leo was devastated. His world had crumbled. The police questioned him, of course. He was the young lover, the classic suspect. But he had an alibi too. He was at his studio all night, a fact confirmed by the building's security cameras. He seemed genuinely heartbroken, a young man who had lost the love of his life. Detective Miller, however, decided to dig deeper into Isabella's life. He discovered she wasn't just a wealthy art collector. She was a shrewd investor with a reputation for being ruthless in her dealings. He also found something else. Just a week before her death, Isabella had drastically changed her will. She had left a significant portion of her personal fortune, including her extensive art collection, not to her husband, but to a newly established art foundation. And who was named as the sole director of this foundation? Leo. This changed everything. Leo now had a multi-million-dollar motive. The police brought him in again, pressing him hard. But Leo's story never wavered. He claimed he knew nothing about the will. He said Isabella only mentioned wanting to support young artists, but he had no idea she had made it official, let alone put him in charge. His shock seemed genuine. While the police were focusing on Leo, Detective Miller turned his attention back to the husband, Richard. His alibi was solid. He was on a flight back from Tokyo. Flight manifests, customs records, everything checked out. But Miller was a man of details. He pulled the security footage from the airport in Tokyo. He saw Richard checking in, going through security. But then he noticed something odd. On the footage from the arrival gate, a man who looked remarkably like Richard was seen disembarking the plane. But there was a tiny, almost unnoticeable difference, a small scar above his left eyebrow. Richard didn't have a scar. This was the crack in the facade. Miller's team investigated further and uncovered a shocking truth. Richard had an identical twin brother, Julian, who had been estranged from the family for years. Julian was a failed actor with a history of minor scams and a mountain of debt. Richard, knowing Isabella was about to leave him and cut him out of her fortune, had devised a sinister plan. He hired his own twin brother to impersonate him on the flight back from Tokyo, creating the perfect alibi. While Julian was in the air, Richard, who had secretly returned to the country on a private jet under a false name, confronted Isabella. The argument wasn't about love or divorce. It was about the will. When she refused to change it back, he made her death look like an accident. He had planned to contest the will, frame Leo, and reclaim the fortune he believed was rightfully his. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place when the police found evidence of large wire transfers from Richard's offshore accounts to his brother Julian's. Faced with the undeniable proof of his conspiracy, Richard confessed to everything. The perfect alibi had been shattered by a tiny scar and a detective who refused to accept the easy answer. And what about Leo? He was cleared of all charges. He inherited control of the foundation, just as Isabella had wished. But the dream had turned into a nightmare. The wealth and status he now possessed felt tainted, a constant reminder of the tragedy. He was no longer the naive boy from the cafe. He had seen the dark underbelly of the world he once so desperately wanted to join. The story of Leo and Isabella serves as a chilling reminder that things are often not what they seem. A passionate affair, a tragic accident. It was a story that hid a calculated plot of greed and deception. Leo got the future he thought he wanted, but lost the person who gave it to him, forever changing his own portrait from one of youthful ambition to one of somber experience. Thank you for joining me for this incredible story. What do you think? Could you have spotted the twist? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more mysteries like this one. We'll see you in the next one.